All praise to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah Bahashim Rakakwadash. In this one right here, we're gonna be dealing with the fourth beast with the 10 horns in Daniel chapter 7. We're gonna go to Revelations also. I might name this video Revelations 12 breakdown actually, because we're gonna be in Revelations 12 to prove that the fourth beast, right, the dragon, or is the Roman Empire, right, the revived Roman Empire, which are the Edomites. So we're gonna go to Daniel chapter 7. We're gonna start at verse 19. It says, "Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, breaking pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth, and spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows." So verse 19 in the first line, it lets you know about this beast, that the fourth beast was more diverse than his fellows, which were the other 3 beasts, because it was 3 beasts before the fourth beast, right? The first beast being the bear. So like the first beast being the lion, I believe, which would be the Babylonian Empire. The second beast being the Medo-Persian Empire, right? And the Babylonian Empire was, from 605 BC to 539 BC. And that's where you get the first beast from, will be which will be the lion. The second beast will be the Medo-Persian Empire that lasted, from 538 BC to around 331 BC. That'd be the bear, right? And the third beast would be the leopard, which would be, your Greeks. And that empire lasted from, around 330 BC to 167 BC. And that's where you get your leopard from. And the fourth beast, which we dealing with right now, would be your dragon, which would be your Roman Empire, that lasted from 168 BC to around 476 AD before it got revived in the 1400s, and we're gonna get into that. But it was more diverse, this fourth beast, which is the Roman Empire, because in this one beast, it had certain things from the other beasts, which made it diverse. It had basically, everything in this one beast. It had certain structures from the last beast. It bring in certain gods from the last beast, certain customs from the last beast, and it was all put in this fourth beast, making it, more diverse, right? And we could read about that. Revelation chapter 12 and 1. Right? It says, "And there appeared a great wonder." Salaki, this is the wrong precept. Let me get this precept. Oh, Revelation 13 and 1. It says, "And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns." Right? This is the same beast that, was being prophesied or spoken about in the book of Daniel. Right? It says, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Right? That's why I said that this beast was, diverse from the others, because, a little bit of everything from the first 3 beasts are all in his fourth beast. Right? That's why it was more diverse than the others. And it says, verse 3, "And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast." Right, and this is talking about the Roman Empire, when it says that it was wounded to death, because the Roman Empire had fell in 476 AD, and that's when the rise of the so-called black kings, right, in the Dark Ages start to rule Europe. But it said it was wounded to death because it failed. The empire fell in 476 AD, and it rose again, right, in the Renaissance era, right? If you're not too familiar with the Renaissance, right? Let's look at Renaissance definition first. Renaissance means let's see. Because Renaissance means rebirth, right? Renaissance means rebirth or be revived. See if it gives us the right definition. Well, let's read it. It says the Renaissance is a period of history in a European cultural movement covering the 15th and 16th century, right? So when the time that the dragon was wounded, it said it was wounded and the deadly wound was healed, right? Because in 476 the empire had failed. But in the 14th, in the mid 14th century, it started, that's when it was healed. That's when the Renaissance era was taking place, being structured, and it reached its height, and in the 15th and 16th centuries. That's when they started knocking the noses off of statues and monuments, and they started covering it, covering the faces of the images, right? Because they'd be so-called black man images, and they start, whitewashing them and putting, white paint on them. That was the Renaissance era, right? And this, look, it says it right here. The term Renaissance, rebirth, right? That's what Renaissance means. It means rebirth. And what was being rebirthed? It was the Roman Empire was being rebirthed, right? That's why when we Revelation 13 it say, and I saw one of the heads as it was wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. It's talking about the Renaissance or the Roman Empire being rebirthed through the Renaissance, right? And I actually go into Revelations 20 also, right? When you Revelations chapter 20, and it says in verse 2, it says, and he laid open, Salaki, it says, and he laid hold on the dragon. Well, let me just start at verse 1. What's the point? It said, and I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. This angel is Yahushua. It says, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Remember, the dragon is the fourth beast, right? Which is the Roman Empire. It says that, this dragon was bound, 1,000 years. It says, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he shall deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season, right? And this is going into, the Roman Empire falling and the Roman Empire being rebirthed, right? Because when the Roman Empire fell, the Edomites, were forced into caves and whatnot because the so-called Negro came into rulership, man, in the Dark Ages. He was ruling the uttermost parts of Europe. And there was really no space for the Edomites, right? The Romans, the so-called Romans, which are the Edomites. There wasn't really no place for them in that Dark Age era, unless they was going to be servants or handmaids. But it says he cast him to the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he should deceive no more nations, or deceive the nations no more, meaning that once he got shut up, his power was taken away for 1,000 years, right? When we go to Malachi chapter 1 and verse 4, it says, and we'll start at verse 3, it says, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness, right? And this happened during that 1,000 years when he was shut up and sealed off. It says, whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus say Yahweh, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness. Right? And when was they impoverished? They was impoverished when, the Roman Empire fell in 476 AD, all the way up into the 14th century. That's when they returned and builded up the desolate places, right? That's when they returned and, went throughout the four corners of the earth to deceive the nations, right? Let's go to verse 7, because verse 7, the book of Revelation chapter 20, it's a jumpy chapter. It's not going in order. But verse 1 through 3 matches up with verse 7 and 8, right? If you understand what I'm saying, it's not really going in chronological order. It's jumping, right? So verse 7 and 8 goes with verse 1 through 3. This is when, let's read it. It says, and when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth. Gog and Magog, right, which represents one of these represents Russia, and I'm not sure. I gotta look into that. But one of these represent Russia. It says to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is the sand of the sea. Right, that's representing Israel, the sand of the sea. But it's letting you know that after the 1,000 years, which is from the time of 476 AD all the way up to the time of the 15th, 16th century. That's when the dragon, which are the Edomites, was bounded up and sealed off from their power. And after the 1,000 years were expired, they came back with the Renaissance era, which means rebirth. And they started painting over images, knocking the noses off of statues, and going around the world with Christianity and colonizing the earth. Right, so that's what that's going into, right? And that's what it's talking about when it says that the wound, that it seemed that it was wounded to death and his deadly wound was healed. It's talking about the Roman Empire falling and the Roman Empire being rebirthed. But now let's prove that it's talking about the Romans, right? Let's go to Revelation chapter 12. It says, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. So this woman represents Israel, right? And the 12 stars represent the tribes of Israel. Right, let's go to Isaiah 66. In verse 8, it says, who have heard such a thing? Who have seen such things? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day? Or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion traveled, she brought forth their children. So all throughout the scripture, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, referred to, Israel, Zion, Jerusalem as, a comely woman. Because we're married to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Right, so the Lord refers to his people as, a comely woman. Right? Let's get one more. Let's go to Isaiah 51. In verse 17, it says, awake, awake, O, and stand up, O Jerusalem, which has drunk at the hand of Yahweh the cup of his fury. Thou hast drunken the dregs of the cup of trembling and wrung them out. There is none to guide her among all the sons whom she hath brought forth. Neither is there any that taketh her by the hand of all the sons that she hath brought up. And it's talking about what? It's talking about Jerusalem. So the Lord refers to Jerusalem as a woman, all throughout the scripture. So when we in Revelation 12 and it's talking about the woman clothed with the sun and with the crown of 12 stars upon her head, that represents Israel, right? And the 12 stars represent the 12 tribes of Israel. Verse 2, it says, and she being with child cried, traveling in birth, and pain to be delivered. Now it's giving you a parable, right? It's giving you a parable, trying to help you understand, who this dragon is and who this woman is, right? It says, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head, right? Which represents the Roman Empire, the same beast that is talking about, right, in Daniel 7. Verse 4 says, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. Meaning that the tail of this dragon, right? He oppressed the 3 stars, which would be the southern kingdom, and cast them to earth, meaning took them out he took them out of power, right? And cast them to the earth, meaning he brought them to a lower state, right? And we could prove that it's talking about the 3 stars is talking about the southern kingdom, right? When you go to 2nd Chronicles chapter 11. Right? This is where you get where you read about the kingdom split. So I'm gonna start at verse 1. We could well, let's, what are we rushing for, man? Let's just read chapter 10. Let me see. Where I want to start at, man. I'm gonna start at verse 10. It says, and the young man that were brought up with him spake unto him, saying, Thus shalt thou answer the people that spake unto thee, saying, Thy father made our yoke heavy, but make thou it somewhat lighter for us. Thus shalt thou say unto them, My little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. For whereas my fathers put a heavy yoke upon you, I will put more to your yoke. My father chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. And this is Rehoboam speaking to the northern kingdom, right? It says, so Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam on the 3rd day, as the king bade, saying, Come again to me on the 3rd day. And the king answered them roughly, and King Rehoboam forsook the counsel of the old man, and answered them after the advice of the young man, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, but I will add thereto. My father chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. So the king hearkened not unto this people, for the cause was of Yahweh, and Yahweh might perform his word, which he spake by the hand of Ahijah the Shilonite to Jeroboam the son of Nebat. And when all Israel saw that the king would not hearken unto them, the people answered the king, saying, What portion have we in David? And we have none inheritance in the son of Jesse. Every man to your tents, O Israel. And now David, see to thy own house. So all Israel went to their tents. But as for the children of Israel that dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. Then King Rehoboam sent Hadoram that was over the tribute, and the children of Israel stoned him with stones, that he died. But King Rehoboam made speed to get up to his chariot, to flee to Jerusalem, and Israel rebelled against the house of David until this day. So, the northern kingdom, and Jeroboam, which was the king of the northern kingdom, was asking, for lighter rulership from the son of David, right? Which was Rehoboam, right? The king over the Jews. They was asking him, let them get a good inheritance, and let them get the same privilege as the southern kingdom. But Rehoboam didn't want to do that, and he sent, a messenger to them, and they stoned him, right? And this led to them getting ready to go to war in the next chapter. Right? It says, and when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he gathered of the house of Judah and Benjamin 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors, to fight against Israel, that he might bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam. But the word of Yahweh came to Shemaiah, the man of Yahweh, saying, Speak unto Rehoboam the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and to all Israel and Judah and Benjamin, saying, Thus say Yahweh, ye should not go up nor fight against your brethren. Return every man to his house, for this thing is done of me. And they obeyed the words of Yahweh and returned from going against Jerusalem. So because they had stoned the man who Rehoboam sent to speak with them, it was a war was going to break out between both kingdoms, between Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and between the other 9 tribes. So verse 5, it says, And Rehoboam dwelt in Jerusalem and built cities for defense in Judah. And to let you know, all the cities that was in Judah that he built defense for. Verse 10, it says, And Zorah, and Nagalon, and Hebron, which are in Judah, and in Benjamin, fenced cities. And he fortified the strongholds and put captains in them, and store of victual, and of oil and wine. And in every several city he put shields and spears and made them exceedingly strong, having Judah and Benjamin on his side. And the priests of the Levites that were in all Israel resorted to him out of all their coast. For the Levites left their suburbs in their possession and came to Judah and Jerusalem, for Jeroboam and his sons had cast them off from executing the priest's office unto Yahweh. Right, so this is where you get the kingdom split at. This is where you get the southern and the northern kingdom split right here. You had Judah and Benjamin, then you had the Levites leave all their cities and their possessions to go and dwell with, Judah and Benjamin at Jerusalem, making up the Jews. Then you had the other 9 tribes that dwelt, in the rest of the land of Israel. But, they eventually got cast out of the land, and it was only the Jews left, right? When you go to Hosea, it lets you know that. Because they had went into captivity under the Syrians. And when they got out of captivity, they had went to the 4th part of the world, which would be so-called America today, where never mankind dwelt. So let's go to Hosea 1. In verse 5, it says, And it shall come to pass at that day that I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel. And she conceived again and bare a daughter. And Yahweh said unto him, Call her name Lurahama, for I will have no mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away. Speaking of the northern kingdom, he told them that he was going to utterly take them away. From where? From out of the land, right? He really took them out of that whole region. They came over to the 4th part of the world, way, out of the way of Israel. Verse 7 says, But I will have mercy upon the house of Judah, and I will save them by Yahweh their power. You see that? He had mercy upon the southern kingdom. That's why they was still in the land of Israel, until 70 AD. But back to Revelations. Verse 3 it says, or verse 4 it says, And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven. We just broke that down. The 3rd part of the stars of heaven represent the southern kingdom, which would be Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, that was still in the land of Israel. It says, And did cast them to the earth, meaning he brought them down to a lower state. Right? It says, And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. Right? And this is giving you a parable, trying to help you understand who the dragon is and who the woman is. Right? So let's go to Matthew, because this is giving you a parable, trying to help you understand. And it's talking about the situation when Herod was chasing Joseph and Mary. Right? Or he was seeking after them. So let's go to Matthew chapter 2. And start at verse 9. It says, When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them till they came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they were coming to the house, they saw a young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, and gold, and frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned of Yahweh in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. And when they departed, behold, the angel of Yahweh appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise and take the young child and his mother and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. Right? So that's what Revelation 12 was going into. Right? Herod, which was a Roman, seeking after Yahweh Shah, which was an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. Right? Letting you know that this dragon represents the Roman Empire, because Herod was a Roman. Right? Let's do some research on Herod. Let's see. Right, Herod the Great, or Herod the Roman. Right? It says was a Roman Jewish client. We know he wasn't a Jew, man. Herod was an Edomite. He wasn't a Jew. It says was a Roman client king of the Herodian kingdom of Judea. He is known for his colossal building projects throughout Judea. Among these works are rebuilding of the Second Temple in Jerusalem and the expansion of his base, and the Western Wall being a part of it. Vital details of his life are recorded in the works of the 1st century CE Roman Jewish historian. So you can't really say, I can't really validate if this is true or not, but the point I was trying to make was that Herod was Roman. Right? Herod was a governor of the Romans. Right? So when it's going into Revelation 12 and it's saying that the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered for to devour her child as soon as it was born, it was going into the Roman Empire and the children of Israel. Right? Giving it to you in a parable. But I just wanted to go into the dragon, man, as much as I could. It's really a lot deeper than how I tried to break it down. I still gotta search the history and get more information on this dragon. But from the little bit that we brought out, you should understand that the dragon represents the Roman Empire. Right? From the wound of the dragon being healed and being healed again, that should let you know that that's talking about the Roman Empire falling in 476 AD and being rebirthed in the 14th century. Or when we read Revelations 20 and it say that the dragon was cast up 1,000 years in prison and he was loosed after those 1,000 years to deceive the whole world. That's to let you know that it's talking about when the Roman Empire fell in 476 AD and was rebirthed in the 14th century. But Lord willing, the little bit of information that we brought out was edifying. All praises to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah. Shalom.